welcome back to Between Bells. Technology has become an indispensable tool in the art world, and our own correspondent, Cheryl Mcginnes, is here to tell us about one artist who's using a coding system as his paintbrush. Cheryl, can I just say we're so happy to have you.
Yes,
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be
you.
here with you. First time meeting you, and I'm a huge fan. And Baker and I have met before. Baker and I are going to be doing some bar class together, and I hope you join us for it.
I would love to go to
Dion
a bar
Wilson's
class with
bar
you guys.
class. Talk about high tech.
Right. Cheryl, tell us though, what about this? I know you said this is one of the harder art things that you've actually been involved in.
And I believe the artist is watching, so I hope that Jeff Leonard, I hope that I can do you proud here.
Will.
So you know what I look for in art? I always say I'm looking for a new language. I feel every artist that has kind of pushed the medium, so to speak, has found a new language of creating. Jeff, interestingly enough, really talks about himself as a tool maker. Basic tool maker, like an early human, this notion of making tools and then using the tools. Well, his motivation to build the machines that he's using and the coding came from tool making. So I find this connection of technology, early technology and technology today, really amazing. And also with artists, there's this great history of mark making. What is it to make marks? What is it? What do those marks represent? How do the marks make them feel? What are they looking for within that? And what he was doing, and I took some notes because technologically this is a little tricky.
Right.
He wanted to figure out every artist, what can they do by hand, but how could he add to that? And so for him, it was going into technology.
Well, we're showing some video footage of this over here. So what is that? Is that him?
Okay, so great. So let me
there?
give you a quick history now of this that he gave me. There's three types of machine. There's the autonomous bots, which are pens, brushes connected to a motor, and the machine is considered art. Then there's the draw paint bots that are connected to a microcontroller, an Arduino, and the art is in the computer, and it's transferred to the microcontroller bot that follows instructions.
So like this, okay.
But what Jeff is doing, this adds a layer to it, is the machine that he made is manipulated in real time by changing the instruction through sensors. It's like a visual synthesizer. So really, I realized that Jeff's relation has a really interesting relationship with coding because it's within the codes and then working with manipulating it. He's not just leaving it. I found it much more difficult than painting.
I can tell that too. Is there a name for this coding device?
That's a very good question. I don't think so at this point. I know he's using processing and I know he's used C++ coding, but this is so, I find this is so advanced, but also I feel like Jeff is in the early stages because he is an inventor in many ways, like a Leonardo, was an inventor. I see him in this. I spent hours in his studio at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and I kept saying I had to leave, and he just was like, I haven't even explained anything yet to you.
We have much more to get through.
So
much more. I will say art in general, like when I look at something like this that we're showing on the screen, it has this warmness, it has this relatability, and sometimes technology can be so cold.
Right.
How is he able to blend that?
Because Jeff is working right there. He's not working on the paintbrush, so to speak, but he's working manipulating the sensors. And so much of it is his relationship to the coding, to the machine, to the sensors. You get that feel. If I can just give you a little piece of art history, for example, Bryce Martin, an artist, he specifically stood a certain distance from his canvases. He added a stick to put his paintbrush on, and that's the way he drew painted his canvases. But within that, even though he was at a distance from the canvas, there is such an intimacy, and I see that in Jeff's work, that even though there's that technological aspect to it, there's still all that warmth and that kind of opening up for us to come in and to be a part of the work.
What's the meaning? Is there some sort of internal meaning that he gets from this, why he created this?
That's a great question, and I think for artists that are always pushing the envelope, so to speak, and looking for that new language. I think the meaning then becomes the process.
Sure.
You know, I could see Jeff never leaving his studio again. I know he has a wife and children, but he could
That's
be
probably why he
there.
didn't want you to leave either.
I know, right?
He hasn't lived in a while.
He hasn't lived. He could be there for the rest of his life and just the meaning just keeps changing and growing and building. I have never really experienced an artist studio where I love going to artist studios because it draws me into their world. It's like a Zen experience. This just took me to an entirely new place, and I found that when I left in thinking about his artwork. So it wasn't just looking at it while he's making it, the process by which art was made, but I kept thinking about the paintings and wanting to look at them more, and then wanting to have them in my living room and to really see them and continue to ponder them.
Can we only experience Jeff's art though out in the Brooklyn Navy Yard? Or is there another way for people to be able to experience
I'd love you to go to Jeff's website. I'd love for Jeff to come here with one of his machines.
Yes.
Yes.
He's talking about putting a sensor on the window so that people could then interact.
Oh, that'd be
with
great
the
with people walking
piece.
over here, yeah.
Right, and then we'd hang some work here. So we're talking about that. And again, I'm kind of getting up to speed with my understanding of technology. So I want to make sure that we have everything that we can do. I know we have, and I'm sure you know, you have an audience of techies. We have this guy Jeremy, and I'm sure they'll respond to this when they see it, and they'll correct me on all of the coding and everything else, which is great, which I love that. But it's really wonderful to be able to open that dialogue between tech and art and make that combination.
Sure. Well, and what he's created is incredibly innovative. Are you seeing any other things in forms of tech, trends in terms of technology and art?
You know, for a long time we've been seeing video. Right, video as art and such. But this is the first time, I shouldn't say that, I also have an artist who's really pushing himself into VR right now on a very different level, and he won't even talk to me about it yet, because when he, again, finds a new language, he kind of hides himself in his studio and then comes out and lets me know when it's ready. So I do, and he's an older artist, so I do see this push towards finding the new medium, right, in this new landscape that we have, which is great.
Very, very fascinating. Jeff's work. Of course, we'd love to see him do it live right here.
Yes, I would like it
Wouldn't
too.
that be great?
Studio.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Well, let's bring him over
Let's
here.
do that. Jeff, you're on.
Yes. All right, well, Cheryl, thank you so much for joining us. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. That's going to do it for us today. We're off Monday for President's Day, so a long three-day weekend. But of course, we'll be back on Tuesday, so meet us right here, of course, at noon. And what's coming up on Closing Bell today?
They have, of course, some good stuff. Snapchat getting ready to IPO. We know right down there at the New York Stock Exchange. At the beginning of March, we're going to tell you what to expect from the company's roadshow that's kicking off in London next week. We're also going to talk about President Trump's meeting with Boeing. We, of course, just showed you that press conference live right here and what he's planning on doing this weekend. Plus, we'll preview this weekend's NBA All-Star Game in New Orleans with a company trying to shake up the way you buy tickets. I, of course, will be tuning in. The dunk contest is my favorite part of the All-Star Weekend.
It's an amazing time. It's an amazing time. This is actually one of the first years I haven't gone to cover it in a while. So
You haven't?
I'm
You're
watching
missing
as a
out.
fan. I'm really excited. Have an amazing weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday.